Welcome to Canada's podcast.
Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and this is Calgary's podcast on Canada's Podcast Network. Joining me today is Desirée Bombenon, who is the CEO of SureCall in Calgary and also the new chair of the Calgary Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for joining us today, Desirée.
It's my pleasure, Mario.
Let's start by just asking you a little bit about the company SureCall, what it is and what it does.
Yeah, so SureCall is a purpose-driven business process optimization company. We're serving clients globally today. And what we basically do is we do fulfillment and front-end services for organizations in order to help them focus on their core business and help them streamline their processes.
Can you tell me a little bit about the history of the company, how it started?
Yeah, so the company's been through many iterations over the last, 40 years or so. And basically, we started out as a telecommunications company focusing on paging when paging was new way back in the day. And we continued down that path of communications and got into cellular and cellular retailer. And after that, with the cellular, we had a dispatch center, which eventually we formed into an after-hour service bureau. And as we sold off various assets to the organization, we continued to work in the call center industry. And then in 2013, we completely pivoted that business into a business process organization, opened up SureCall, and we've been doing fantastic ever since.
Can you tell me a little bit about who your clients would be? Like what kind of industries are you looking at?
So we serve a number of industries and sectors, everything from small business to large government entities and Fortune 500 companies. So, we've got every aspect because the applications we do are many and variable. So we customize our solutions specifically around what the client's needs are. So whether it's, electric car charging assistance to, ordering pizza, it could be emergency response. We do a lot of emergency response for the energy industry. So there's many, many different applications. And it's sometimes difficult to juggle, but we ensure that we have specifically skilled individuals for those sectors and work very closely with the organizations to build a solution that works for them.
Okay. Can you talk just a little bit about, the last 2 years, obviously, with the pandemic and what kind of an impact that had on SureCall?
Well, the impact has been very, I don't know if you want to call it good, but we've had a tremendous amount of growth to the point where we've had to sort of try to manage that growth so that it's sustainable. The reason for that is, as you would know, most organizations realized that they weren't set up when the pandemic struck and, that people had to work from home and they weren't prepared. We'd been working in a, hybrid of in-house and remote environment for, the last 15 years. So we were set up to easily manage the pandemic and that piece of it. What we didn't realize is that everybody else would want to come to us for assistance and help during the pandemic. And a lot of that has turned out to be long-term business with these organizations. So we've had tremendous growth over the last 2 years.
Okay. Now, Desirée, I know you're heavily involved in the community here in Calgary in a number of different ways. Let's talk about entrepreneurship and Calgary and Alberta have always been known as having that quote unquote entrepreneurial spirit. Do you think it's still there?
Absolutely, and I think it's there more than ever. In fact, I think we've had more startups in the past year than we've had, in the history of our city. And we are always leading in the entrepreneurial area over all other regions in Canada. So I would say even more so today, and probably because Calgarians are strong, we've had to, go through a number of, challenges over the, past 20 years. It's not just been the pandemic. It's been the pandemic. It's been, the economy. It's been floods. It's been fires. It's, we've had it all. So I think just developing that really strong foundation to be able to have these challenges and crucibles and learn how to, navigate them and come out successfully on the other side. I mean, that's what that Calgary spirit is.
Mm-hmm. What do you, if a young entrepreneur came to you, or even an older person who wants to be an entrepreneur, what kind of advice would you give them, to set them on the road or on the path of hopefully success?
Yeah, well, first of all, you're never too old to become an entrepreneur, right? So go for it if that's your endeavor and that's what you want to do. I would say, just understand that there's ups and downs, and the best way to be successful and to reach your full potential is by having those failures along the way and learning to grow from those failures. Every successful entrepreneur has had to, handle those challenges and learn how to deal with them. And that makes you stronger. The other thing is, to always, lead with your heart and make sure that you stay focused with regards to how you engage with your team. Sometimes, we get successful and we forget that we need to stand alongside our front line and be supportive of them and be there for them. And especially through challenges like the pandemic, is, really to be able to be more in the day-to-day, come down from that 30,000 foot level and, really understand the needs of your team. Lastly, your team is really the greatest asset you have with regards to success for your business. If you look after your team, they will look after the clients for you. So really, my focus has always been on taking care of my team and ensuring they have everything they need to be successful. And from there, they will ensure your customers are looked after.
Yeah. When we talked a little bit about the pandemic, one of the, I guess, overused words in the pandemic was pivot, right? And but whether you call it pivot or whether you call it change, adapting and adopting different things, how important is that aspect of being an entrepreneur to see the sign of the times, so to speak, and be adaptable and react to them, and react in a timely manner as well, not like months from now, but to do it pretty quickly.
Oh yes, I mean, time is everything when it comes to being able to manage situations, especially crisis situations or things that as they change rapidly around you in this volatile, environment that we're all working in. But, our company, we work, with two main operational strategies. One is a purpose-driven culture, and the other is, like you're saying, Mario, an agile methodology. So this is a way to manage your business by empowering, cross-functional teams to handle the business by breaking operations into smaller modules or projects and initiatives. I think this develops a higher level of trust and teamwork. It also reduces the stress that can be overwhelming at times like this, and also when scaling or managing your business growth. Being agile and being adaptable is going to be the way to do business. And that's why all these agile frameworks are coming out in business models. Although I believe that agile is not a framework, it's actually sort of a mindset that your organization has to have. And again, then, having that purpose behind what you're doing also helps attract, talent and keep talent within your organization.
Let me talk a little bit about community. One of the aspects of being a business owner that I think, and an entrepreneur that I think a lot of businesses often forget because they're so busy doing their stuff, is how to be part of a community, how to give back to a community. I know my good friend Tony Spallettini at Spalombo's. I often talk to him about this, and it's almost at the core of what him and Mike Palumbo do over there, and there's other businesses like that. So tell me how important it is to give back as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's very important. I think it's critical. I think it's the community that helps to make your company successful and keep your company successful. And it's imperative that you give back to the community. It's also part of your brand image, right? People want to know that that the business is a good business, and they're willing to help and assist the community when it's needed. I think it's pivotal that you, as a company, as an organization, look at ways of giving back. We do a number of different things. We do a lot locally, like Tony does. We also, and I'm sure Tony has scaled out more than that as well. We do a lot across Canada, and we've also started to do global assistance in many areas, especially around empowering women and gender equality. And I think, just having that brand of and really meaning what you're doing. It's not about doing things just so that you're recognized for doing things in the community, but it's actually having impact and having a team that is really wanting to be purpose-driven and make a difference in the world.
Yeah. When you look at Calgary, what would you say the advantages are of being an entrepreneur in Calgary?
Well, I think because Calgary is such an entrepreneurial city, first of all, you have lots of support with regards to the peers and the other businesses around you. Many of the businesses started out in Calgary and are very entrepreneurial. But, there's lots of organizations. For example, the Chamber itself now has added a segment or a, membership around startups, specifically in Calgary. And I think that it's so important that, associations, organizations, and chambers do that for their local community. So I believe that, the Calgary community especially is very supportive of entrepreneurialism. And we've just created an ecosystem around that. And it doesn't matter what sector you're in, there's going to be resources and support for you out there.
Yeah, I'll have to hit the flip side of this. What are disadvantages you may think that are out there that for doing business in Calgary these days?
Well, I don't see a lot of disadvantages. I'm very positive with regards to my outlook on Calgary and our economy. So I think if anything, maybe some red tape, in getting things going and started. However, I think, some of that is loosening up. I think we're starting to see, capacity and resource in that area. There's plenty of, as office space and things that are at very reasonable rates. So, I really don't see too much of a disadvantage, Mario, of coming here. I think the one disadvantage of any is that we have a talent shortage right now. And I think that we need to really work hard with our civic groups and leadership to encourage people to come and live in this great city of ours so that we can have a tremendous talent pool to choose from.
All right, super. Desirée, let's talk a little bit about yourself. Where are you from originally?
Well, I was born in Sri Lanka, actually, but I came to Canada when I was very, very young, 3 years old. And I've lived in Calgary for almost all of my life. So, I consider myself obviously a Calgarian and a Canadian, but my roots, Sri Lanka.
So tell me, with all the things that you juggle, right? With your work at the Chamber, your work at SureCall, other community work that you do, where do you find the balance in life?
Well, I do a lot of other things with regards to, meditation and self-care, do lots of walks, do yoga, I work out. So you do have to find a balance, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're going all the time, the chance of burnout is very real. And I look at things like my work on some of the boards that I do, like Children First Canada and that sort of thing, very rewarding. And so, those are things that also help to balance me out with, going at it at business at 100 miles an hour and then being able to sit back and do some good work in the community. You have to find the balance, Mario, if that's where you're going. Absolutely. Because you have to be able to be healthy and supportive and also relaxed and decompressed in order to support your team to be successful.
Yeah. When you look at your career along the way, who would you say that's been, some of your main supports, or where have you found advice, wisdom, inspiration from?
Well, many people, a lot of the talent and great people that sit on the boards that I work with, but also, everybody from my grade 3 teacher, Mrs. Black, who set me on my way and told me that, hey, girls can do anything, right to, my family, who've been extremely supportive of everything I've done. I consider my team a huge support to me in my roles, and, they manage and run the organization for me as I sit in these other roles. I have a couple of organizations that I belong to, like Young Presidents Organization, or YPO as it's known today, and belong to a forum, so a group of peers that allow, that we talk to, because, we don't have anybody else really. When you're running a business, you want to talk to other people that are going through the same, challenges that you are. And definitely our local community and the chamber itself, have peer-to-peer sessions and that sort of thing. I think it's about being able to step up and go and utilize those forums and groups. And a lot of the times we get too busy to do those things, and we actually give up a lot by not going and learning from our peers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's super. I appreciate you taking the time to do this, Desirée. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure, Maria. Take care.
Thank you. That was Desirée Bombenon, who is the CEO of SureCall in Calgary, also chair of the Calgary Chamber of Commerce. This has been Calgary's podcast on Canada's Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us today.